Last week, two major indictments were filed in the ongoing saga of Trump taxes, right? This thing has been going on for years. It's been under investigation by the Manhattan prosecutor, Vance, and his team, and they finally put something down on paper and filed it. And that was an indictment against the Trump Payroll Corporation with 10 counts of various tax issues, and then a 15-count felony indictment against Allen Weisselberg, the CFO, the chief financial officer of the Trump Organization. Now, some people have criticized these indictments as being so limp-wristed they make Obama look like a power lifter, but you know, that's a discussion to be had, I suppose. The counts and the charges are very serious. Make no mistake, they are felony level charges, and they are intended to apply pressure. And that's the root of all of this, is that these charges are not seriously being brought, because this type of stuff happens all the time, and charges are not usually brought on these same sorts of facts. What you're typically going to get is a notice of an improper filing and then an opportunity to correct it and to go after the actual tax revenue that is allegedly lost. And you have that fight with the IRS rather than a Manhattan prosecutor who may not understand income tax law. Who knows? Who knows? But typically that's how this is done. It's done in an administrative way and allows someone to correct the errors. But this is not just someone. This is someone who might have info on Donald Trump, and they're going to put the squeeze on Allen. That's the goal. Use this guy and use the Trump Organization to go after Trump. They have pled not guilty to the charges, and Trump has been very outspoken about this. Of course, Donald Trump hasn't been charged because they just can't seem to find any evidence that he did any criminal activity, despite screaming and screeching for years and years that this man is a murderer. Let's talk about what's going on here and how dumb CNN is on their coverage of this. I'm Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. I'm a lawyer. I'm also a legal and political commentator on YouTube and on Odyssey. Go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. Check it out. All right, here we go. Here we go. This is from CNN Politics and from Eric Bradner, who idiotically writes, Trump seemingly acknowledges facts of prosecutors' case against Trump Organization while criticizing charges over fringe benefits. And he doesn't actually acknowledge the facts of the prosecutor's case. He acknowledges some facts that have occurred, but they're not the facts of the prosecutor's case as applied to law. This is the big distinction here, because you can say that, sure, we paid fringe benefits. That doesn't mean anyone refused to pay taxes on those fringe benefits. But let's see what happened here. Former President Donald Trump appeared to acknowledge the core facts in New York prosecutors' case against the Trump Organization and its chief financial officer, even as he characterized the charges as a political attack aimed at him. Trump told a crowd in Sarasota, Florida on Saturday night that every company does fringe benefits. Well, yes, major corporations do tons of fringe benefits, especially for highly compensated executives. That doesn't mean that it's a scheme to evade taxation, and that doesn't mean that tax evasion happened here. It may have. It may have. We'll find out, apparently, if it did. But, man, if it didn't, they're going to look really dumb. Really dumb. But he mocked prosecutors for pursuing the charges, saying it is reminiscent of a communist dictatorship targeting your political opponents. Well, that's because it is. I mean, this is a political prosecution. Hands down, bar none. There's no bones about it. This is admittedly aimed and focused at Donald Trump over political disagreements. It always has been. That's the only reason these charges are being brought. That's it. I challenge you to find another reason why these charges are being brought. Why an investigation for multiple years was launched into Donald Trump. It was all politics. It was always politics. The comments marked the former president's most substantial yet on the charges after they were unsealed last week in the first criminal case against his namesake company. Never before has New York City and their prosecutors, and perhaps any prosecutors, criminally charged a company or a person for fringe benefits, Trump said. I don't know if that's true, but he says fringe benefits, murders, okay, human trafficking, no problem, but fringe benefits, you can't do that. Can't do that. So then it goes on to talk about the indictments. Again, we talked about it. 10 counts to the Trump Payroll Corporation, 15 counts to Allen Weisselberg about various schemes to defraud, conspiracy, all of that stuff. It's all related to avoiding taxes. Trump says they go after good, hardworking people for not paying taxes on a company car. A company car. You didn't pay tax on the car, or a company apartment. Use an apartment because you need an apartment because you have to travel too far where your house is. Didn't pay tax. Or education for your grandchildren. I don't even know. Do you have to? Does anybody know the answer to that stuff? Okay, but they indict people for it. Trump is talking about the fact that the tax code is so nebulous that most people, damn it, most people don't even know. They don't even know whether or not what they're doing is legal. And that's a big problem with the tax code, is that you can go through it and be doing things, even getting good information from people or consulting experts, and still be wrong. And at the upper levels of income, this becomes more and more of an issue. As you get more complex income schemes, and as you get more complex ways to try and lessen your tax burden, things become harder and harder to keep track of. And you have a higher and higher chance of running afoul of the nebulous tax code. So who even knows? Who even knows? But the important thing here is that Trump doesn't actually admit the facts of the case. He says what they're going after. They're going after this non-payment of taxes on a company car. They're going after non-payment of taxes on company housing. By the way, you can actually get company housing. There are specific circumstances that you have to fill. You may be able to get company-funded transportation. There are specific circumstances. And there are circumstances where those things can be tax deductible. And the question is always, did they pay the correct amount of taxes? The funny thing is, the prosecutors don't even know if they did or not. They're filing with probable cause that they did not, and they very well could be wrong. But of course, let's remember the main purpose of this organization is to try and put enough pressure on Weisselman that they'll flip on him or flip him to talk about Trump. That's the end game. Always has been. Always go for Trump because he's their big target, because they just couldn't stand that he tweeted mean things. But what do you guys think? Why don't you drop a comment down below? Thanks for watching. Until next time, peace. Peace.